It's great to be here. It's great to be here among old friends and new. It's a privilege to be in a country run by liberals, and it's an honor to join you as you celebrate your first 20 years of cooperation. I've had the pleasure to work with many of you throughout those 20 years. And looking around the room, if I may say so, you don't look a single day older. Well, maybe my eyesight is no longer quite what it was, but I believe it's the liberal spirit which keeps us young. Looking at our program today, I am impressed by the quality of those you have assembled to address us. And I look forward to their perspectives, to their insights, to their liberal wisdom. And I say that fully aware that all our knowledge serves primarily to make us more cognizant of our ignorance. Our discussions will cover a broad range of issues of common concern to liberals. We will study security issues. We will talk about trade. We will look forward to ASEAN in 2015. And since we look forward to the shape of Southeast Asia in 2 years' time, I hope you will allow me to say a few words about the possible shape of Europe 2 years from now. I do so not without hesitation, because, friends, it is not a pretty picture. When Europe's annual portrait is painted and the tubes are twisted and dried, I fear that the oil on the canvas will show a rather sick man. Europe is stuck in a crisis of sovereign debt and bank capitalization, which engulfed us in 2008 and which ails us still. We cling to the hope that we are past the critical stage of our illness. Our doctors tell us we need at least 5 more years to recover. But the economic ills we have endured have been the worst we've known since the deep recession of the 1920s, and their side effects may not yet be fully evident. Remember what happened in the 1920s. In the aftermath of the Wall Street crash, democratic governments went down in Europe like 9 pins as people looked for easy answers from populist politics. The fascist and communist parties which were elected into office sowed hatred in our society and wreaked havoc in our economy. And I say frankly, we are fortunate that in this crisis, no European Union democracy has been overturned by the ravages of recession and the hopelessness of high unemployment. And I hope I do not have to add the word yet. In some countries, over half of our young people between the ages of 18 and 24 are out of work. Today's youth are the first in 4 generations who cannot look forward to a better life than that of their parents. And political parties which pander to the baser elements of human nature are having a field day. In France, the extreme right polls 24% across the country. In Britain, an anti-European and anti-immigrant party took 26% in local elections this year. In Italy, a party led by a stand-up comic took a quarter of all the votes cast in the national elections. And elsewhere, the picture looks bleak too. Only in Germany, where the horrors of the Nazis are so well taught, are the extremists still insignificant. But even in Germany, In elections last month, our Liberal friends were knocked right out of the national parliament. Our Liberal friends in Asia, particularly in Thailand, know from recent Asian history how much economic hardship hits Liberals. And I fear that in Europe the worst is yet to come. In elections to the European Parliament next year, the populist extremes could win a quarter of all the seats. And if that happens, then in 2015, in some country or other, in the European Union or on our borders, the past might just manage to overlap the future. Of course, we Liberals are redoubling our efforts, and with some success. In Norway, in Austria, we've had encouraging results in national elections this year. In Luxembourg, we look likely to lead the next government, with our friend Xavier Bettel as Prime Minister. With luck, universal unemployment and sickness insurance will continue to cushion the pain of those out of work. With luck, higher levels of education than in previous crises will prevent a majority of people voting for the extremists. But like me, many are holding their breath and hoping for the best. We expect to have fewer Liberals in the next European Parliament than now, and we expect social unrest and the search for scapegoats to continue to blight our societies. Friends, I seek not to dampen the spirits of any of us here today. As a Liberal, I simply cannot be a pessimist. There are some hopeful signs for Europe, but I am not naive about the reality of recession. And that is why we need your help. With very little growth in the European Union's economy, we need more trade with economies which are growing. Our free trade agreement with South Korea has been a huge success. We have initialed one with Singapore. We are talking to Japan and Malaysia. Just this week, we initialed a partnership and cooperation agreement with Thailand. It is not easy everywhere. With India, the search for a free trade agreement is like wading through deep mud because the Gandhian philosophy is no friend to trade. But greater trade with Asia can help Europe and help Asia too. Of course, we are looking elsewhere. We've agreed a new deal with Canada. We have ambitious aims with America. Because, as Adam Smith observed, trade is the fastest way to pull people out of poverty. It helps to spread human understanding. It secures peace because the market is the only battlefield on which both sides win. But unless we in Europe can suppress the protectionists and trade our way back to economic health, then the future will be bleak. For ASEAN, I hope the prospects are brighter. And the great thing is that here in Southeast Asia, we see increasing regional cooperation. We see a number of established democracies. The national leaders who are not democrats find their positions harder and harder to justify. And so much of this, I know, is thanks to your work, to your struggle, to your sacrifices, to the Liberals who have worked day in, day out, those far-sighted, those with community spirit, the people who ask themselves not, what is in it for me, the individual, but what is in it for us, we the community. Because Liberals here are putting long-term strengths and common concerns above immediate satisfaction and personal gain. And these are our Liberal heroes here in Asia, People like Ninoy Aquino, Kim Dae-jung, Martin Lee, Aung San Suu Kyi, and so many more. They and their followers here today have labored with the bricks of effort and the mortar of persistence to make Asian liberalism what it is today. Friends, we liberals in Europe salute you, and we look forward to our conference with you.